Well, we should probably get to the discussion of the Universus stuff.
Yeah.
I guess I'll do a very quick intro and then hand it off. But hi everybody, I'm Ty Tuesday. With me today is Sly09 and Kobuddy.
Hello.
Kobuddy is a big enthusiast of a newer comparatively card. I mean, Magic's old as shit.
A new version of an older card game?
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically it used to be called the Universal Fighting System, UFS. This was like 2008 when that released.
So it launched in 2006 under Sabretooth Games. It moved to Fantasy Flight Games in 2008. Fell off, and then Jasco picked it back up in 2014. It kind of floated around for a few years there, and then was rebooted as the My Hero Academia collectible card game in 2021, which then became Universus last year fully.
And that is why, even though this game doesn't have a category on Twitch, Kobuddy told me I'm supposed to stream it under My Hero Rumble.
Yeah, the My Hero Academia Battle Royale is what everybody streams this game under. But yeah, so we're gonna go over a little bit as to what everything means, just so you know, I'm not throwing you completely in the deep end.
And I guess some kind of context here. I've been playing Magic the Gathering for over 25 years at this point, as well as like Eternal, a bunch of other card games, Pokemon TCG, ton of stuff. Just been playing card games forever, so I'm pretty familiar with a bunch of different ones. And Slyo, you want to talk about your experience with cards?
But yeah, I've also been playing a number of card games for decades. Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Netrunner. I don't know. Played that one a little bit.
Netrunner played that one a little bit. Say how much you played.
Fine.
It's important.
Okay, I have a card with my face on it because I was a world champion in that game.
This man was about to let that slide. Oh, you know, I played.
Okay, fine, all right.
God damn, world champion of it. Yeah, of like one of the most complicated card games with the most like mind game layers possible. Yeah, a little CBI raid, whatever, no big deal.
Because so I've played a lot of different card games, including UFS on its original release. I played that back in 2006 to like 2009, 2010. So haven't touched it in over a decade. So it'll be interesting to see what's changed, what hasn't with this.
Yeah. And I kind of just got into it like a couple months ago. Mostly because I saw a video on the original UFS about like old card games. And I was interested in how this game played, and they brought up that how it kind of got revived in the My Hero card game, and that later became Universus, because the My Hero branding is kind of what brought them back into relevance, I would say.
That makes sense. That was like people like that anime, from what I understand.
Pretty
it did
big.
Pretty well. Yeah.
But yeah, so to kind of start off, there are 5 different types of cards. There's characters, which is the card you build your deck around. This is a leader-based game, though it's a bit different from like One Piece and Dragon Ball.
Or like Commander.
Sure, yeah. I've never played Magic, if you believe that.
In Commander, you have to like play your
it's not like
thing,
a passive.
Whereas
yeah,
this is like your character's always there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It defines your starting bits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Think like, I guess WoW TCG is an example of that for an old one.
Sure.
Look, I'm just gonna be hitting old TCGs for you. That's my job.
Actions are effectively like kind of like hand traps from Yu-Gi-Oh. You play them from your hand, and they have an effect, basically.
Can you play them on your opponent's turn?
Yes.
They're instants. Got it. Okay, great.
Attacks are how you kill your opponent, basically. They're what you use to deal damage. Foundations are the closest thing to lands this game has, I would say. They're very different from lands, just based on the fact that every single, well, I shouldn't say every single one of them, but most of them have abilities on them.
Do you need them to cast other cards?
Yes, for the most part.
Okay.
If your deck did not contain foundations, the game is not going long.
Okay, great.
And assets are effectively just foundations that cannot be used to pass checks, which we will get into on this next screen. So in the top left and bottom right corner, the top left, 3.
I know that one.
3.
Yeah, love that.
The top left is the difficulty number, and the bottom right is the control. When you play a card, you mill the top card of your deck, and you check to see the bottom right number against the top left. If it is higher or equal, you pass the check, and the turn continues as normal.
So you reveal the top card of your deck, and it needs to have a bigger or equal blue number to the orange, or the bottom right needs to be higher or equal to the top left number.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's how you
it's
play
bad
cards.
if that doesn't happen.
Yes. If you do not pass the check, you can commit, and commit is tap. Foundations to increase the check. So if you check a 2, you can commit 1 foundation to make it a 3.
Yeah, so you pay the difference with your foundations, and that's how you keep going in a turn if you were to miss on a check.
Okay, sick. And yeah, mill is just like, so not only is mill like a standard card game term across multiple card games, mill is a term that I know Magic players who have played mill decks that didn't realize it was named after the card millstone. Because it's just like, you don't need millstone to do mill anymore.
This sounds similar to Destiny drawing in the old Star Wars CCG. Yeah, very much. There's a number of games that operate on the there's a number of the older 90s games that you'll find that operate on the control check system.
Yeah, this number is damage. If you get hit by this attack, this is how much damage you're taking and how much health you're losing.
Okay.
Pretty simple. This is the speed. Speed effectively means how difficult this attack is going to be to block, like in a fighting game.
Okay.
So this number is extremely a fighting game number.
Okay.
Yes. So these two numbers are the big kind of combined things that matter the most. The number in the top right there, you add that to the speed of the attack. Well, okay. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, I'd say. So you want to help me a little bit here?
So you've got the speed number there. That shows what the attack is, if it's a mid, high, or low.
Okay.
Again, fighting game.
Yeah.
And then it has a speed number. Like, think of that as like frame data.
Okay.
The higher the number, the slower it is.
Okay. So you want to go lower number?
Sorry. No, you want to combine. So it's going to be harder to block the higher that number is.
Okay, high number good. So you want to get like high number and then hopefully high, lower, mid that your opponent is not blocking.
Yeah.
Like
so
this...
you want a high number on your speed, so because that makes the attack harder to block. When you go to when an attack happens, you can play a card from your hand that has that symbol in the top right as a block.
But only if it matches lanes.
No. If you block mid. It'll block mid, like that's fine. If you block high against mid, you take half on the block. You're only partial block.
Okay.
And I don't think you can block low with high or high with low. I think you just you get whiffed.
Okay. You can block from one zone off. Okay, word.
Yeah, yes. and so the lower in the top right is better because that means it's a more effective block. So if you're blocking this attack with itself, it's going to be a 4 as the combined total, and that'll be what you, the blocker, need to make as a check to successfully block.
Yeah. Yeah, and when we say check, it means
Always top card.
mill the top card, yeah.
Okay. I'm sure I'll figure it out eventually. Yeah, it'll start making sense.
This is what's referred to as a static. This is when this card is played, this effect happens. You don't need to do anything, it just happens when the card gets played.
ETB, okay.
Those two numbers on the right are hand size and health. Health is pretty simple. When you lose all that, you lose. Hand size is how many cards you draw at the start of a turn. So
this is a full reload game.
Yeah, full reload to that number.
Okay, that changes math a lot. That's like one of the biggest differences in card games is is having cards in your hand a struggle or something that just happens superfluously and you need to spend them.
Because with the back, like as we mentioned with attacking, like you play an attack, your opponent has to have cards in hand to block with, so you need to both play cards on your turn and then have cards to play on your opponent.
I have enough to block, yeah.
It's draw 2/7 for the record.
Yeah, you will always draw up to your hand size, whatever that is.
Exactly. Yeah, you reload. Yeah, it's a full reload game. Yeah, so like Slay the Spire is another one that does that, where you like draw up to a certain number every single turn. So it's similar to that. Which again, if you've played Slay the Spire, you know that like card draw is still pretty good, but it's nowhere near as good as it is in other games. Because like if you draw a bunch and are just sitting on them, that does nothing for you. Yeah.
So enhance. After a card is played and the check is resolved and everything's Gucci, it goes to what's called the enhance step, where you and your opponent take turns playing enhances on your cards. These do a lot of different things, mess with stats, as we can see with Yusuke here. He can fetch specific cards from the discard pile. I won't go into the more details like specifically on this card unless it comes up with another card.
I mean, it makes sense. So this would be like when a combat phase starts happening, once you hit the enhanced phase, you can tap Yusuke, discard a card, and then pull a spirit from grave to hand.
Yeah.
Okay,
or
cool.
like the second one is like a more general one where it's like, okay, you could do this to make your attack more effective.
Yeah.
Yep.
Since it's here, I might as well say, commit is again just tap. Notably, when a character card is committed, they usually don't have. It's treated as not having abilities. You can't use any of the abilities on them.
Okay.
However, that rule is broken if an ability says tenacious, which just means playable while committed.
Okay, so not quite vigilance, but it like allows it to act while tapped. So that's almost just like
old artifact rules from Magic.
Yeah, or like an ability that just doesn't give a shit if it's tapped or not, which like there are those, right? There are cards that can just do stuff even if they're tapped, including ones that have activated abilities that are like untapped.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess it's that. And that one seems like it's just like passive. Like it just is kind of always okay, I got it.
Yeah. And response is just when the thing happens, you activate this response. So as it says here, after your rival makes a check, that's when you activate this. You can activate this ability.
Now, is this from hand, or do you have to put it on the field first?
This is on the field.
This is from field, okay. And would this be face up? Do they like know?
Depends on the card type, because this would be a response you play from your hand, right?
No, this is a foundation.
Oh, okay.
So this is,
but if you could have a form, like you could have a action that has a response, though, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Like I said, actions are hand traps.
So response isn't inherently like a card speed. It's just saying like, this is a thing you do in response to something else, which I guess is fair.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. But yeah, that about covers it. I wanted to go basically just sort of actually teaching y'all how to play. There's some other things on here that may come up. I can't exactly remember, but for right now, don't worry about it.
Okay. So we ready to rate some cards? We ready to see if we can guess
right.
if these cards are good?
Yeah, so for the start, I want to basically just show you kind of one of each card type, and then we'll kind of go from there. So to start with, we'll be looking at a character card, Nicholas D. Wolfwood.
I mean, it's Wolfwood. How bad could it be?
Dude, yeah. Another important thing to ask, what are the current rules for mill out?
So yeah, that's important. When you deck out, you don't lose the game.
Okay.
You shuffle your discard pile, and then you remove from play the top 10 cards of your deck.
Bizarre.
And then you continue
what's starting
playing.
deck size?
60.
60,
At
okay.
minimum.
Okay.
So you will run out of cards,
but
but
takes
it
6
takes
laps.
a few.
Yeah.
It takes a few, probably less than, because your foundations go into play to stay there. So.
Oh, permanence,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, permanence stay.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, it takes a few laps. Okay, you know, I think I'm ready to render my judgment. I think I'm willing to say what I think. How about you, Slyo? Do you have any more major questions before we take our guesses? I'm sorry, our 100% accurate gut checks. I'm gonna say if this dude was like part of an upper tier deck, maybe not tier 0, not like didn't blow the ass off the format, but was like strong and fair, like top 8 finisher, but maybe not top 2. That's my guess.
Yeah, this dude's fine. That at first enhances all of his power. Maybe a little less killable than you'd think because of the draw 2 gain 2, because that makes your hand size actually much bigger and your health higher than it looks.
Yeah,
That's like making up for it. But I'm gonna say Wolfwood is fine, maybe better than fine. That's like this ain't like breaking tables. He's okay.
I would say that Ty actually probably pretty much got it.
Yes!
He's very new, so there hasn't been like too much play with him.
okay.
But he's strong. I mean, just adding 3 damage for effectively free on all of your attacks.
I mean, it's the fact that he doesn't exert on that, right? Or commit, right, is the term. Yeah, he doesn't commit.
Yeah.
Like if he had to commit, that would probably be pretty mid, right?
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, the fact that he's effectively an 8 hand size character, if you have momentum, is
If you're
also
winning,
very
you're
strong.
winning really hard.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll go to foundation. A foundation. He's just standing there.
Menacingly.
I think I know what I think of on this card.
I mean, I'm like looking at this and I'm like, draw 1, remove it from the game. Like, it's a question of like how good is cantrip on something like this, and it feels like not very, like especially if a guy who's like upper mid is an 8 card hand that reloads every turn. It feels like 1 is like extremely bold.
I'll go first on this one if you like.
Yeah, go for it.
Auto 4 of every deck. This is like, I don't care what the text on this card is. It's a 1/5 foundation with a block. Like, it might not be like quite literally auto include if there are better cards that have text, but like the numbers on this mean that on the progressive difficulty of playing your foundations on early turns, you can play this on like your third foundation and still generally be expected to have this play out no matter how many cards you've already played in the turn. It also has late game use in being not a great block, but like a block that is playable, giving this more utility as the game goes on. I don't really think that I think this text is not quite blank, but like you're fishing if you're using it. It's not good, but a 1/5 like that. This is going to be like the generic filler that makes your deck run. You're playing like 20 of these that just exist.
I was kind of thinking based on how low 1 feels and how high 5 feels that this is just a card you literally always can play.
04s or 05s are the norm, or if we're in the stage where 2/5s are the norm.
I will say, at the very least, this is a card that is either busto or dog. Feels like.
So I'm very glad I started with this card because this puts a couple things in perspective and allows me to tell you a few things. 5 is the standard check on most foundations.
Okay.
So
Okay.
There are some with 4. Those are generally pretty powerful cards. Just to balance out the fact that it's a very strong foundation. And the foundation difficulties usually go from 0 to 3. And the way you build it is you want mostly 1 and 2 difficulties in your deck. So there are very strong both 3 and 0 difficulty foundations.
Interesting. Okay.
However, this card is incredible, not for the reasons you said. Cause
All right, like zoom in on the zoom and enhance on what's cool.
The thing is, if you pull out an X-ray machine, you can see that Birdman's cock is huge. Like, what did we miss?
So drawing is actually very strong.
Okay.
Because it allows you to fish for more attacks to continue your string, or it allows you to draw for a better block during the enhanced steps.
Oh, right, this is pre-block, ain't it? So you're
Yes.
Yeah, because you
This
could
lets-
like try and draw for either another attack or like some form of combat trick or something. Yeah, okay, that makes
okay,
sense.
cool.
Here's a card that I've mentioned before on stream. Or actually, that's the wrong card actually, but we'll go for it.
So this is an action, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We have to talk about form as a thing. That's sorcery speed playing the card. If I remember form right.
Yeah, form is basically when you play a card.
And it's
when you playing
a card
is a
outside
form.
of the enhance phase.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this would be like sort of like the same as playing an attack or playing a foundation.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so it's saying you can either play this during enhance phase for one thing or during like main phase for something else.
Right. Yeah, pretty much.
And what does breaker mean?
So
a good question.
breaker is a response that happens when you play this card to block. You would block with this card, say breaker 1. That means your opponent's next check gets a -1. So if they mill the top card of their deck and it's a 5 check, that is now a 4 check.
So this is like a 1 mid block, right? Do I give a shit about the rest of the card? Like, I feel like that seems crazy, right? Like, for the record, my evaluation, I think this card seems nuts to me. Just the fact that it's got foundation casting ability with the big 5 blue in the corner. It's got that 1 mid, which seems really good, because if it's mid, that means it half blocks both lanes, I think, right?
Yeah, it'll
Yes.
half block high and half block low and full block.
And full block mid. 2, as we discussed, is like totally castable. Honestly, that breaker just seems like a pain in the ass. That seems like something that you'd just be like you'd have a really tightly defined plan, and then breaker just pushes you right outside of it. I don't know how huge removing momentum is, but it sounds annoying, and getting a free momentum seems good. Also, they make you remove the card from the game, which makes me think they were scared of letting you cast it twice, which also makes me think it's quite good.
I think this card is cracked, but not like it has like good stats, good block, but that second ability is reset your turn.
Yeah,
that's just
from the pool.
That's just like you go attack, play this, flip your entire pool out. Now I'm playing on +0.
Yeah, you just
As
start
long
your
as you don't
turn
care.
over. Yeah.
And the enhance on here is also like a freebie that stifles your opponent and sets you up for moving forward.
So discard up to 3 from the card pool would mean remove 3 difficulty from the current turn. Yeah?
Correct.
Yes,
Oh, Jesus
correct.
Christ. That's just like a time walk. And just do it
as-
too.
And as we said before, with card draw being a thing, if you're continuing to feed out, you just play this and go, okay, cool. Now my turn 2 starts. Like I feel like the combination of what all this card does means that it's like I talked about the previous one being good glue. This is more of like real plan.
All right, are we right, Kobuddy?
So this card was banned.
Yeah!
Good. All right, good. Yeah, we got it.
This card
Easy.
is f***ing busted.
Easy.
Yeah!
Like when I'm comparing a card to Time Walk, that should tell you something, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, oh, it's just a time walk on the side? Good.
Yeah. No. The being able to pitch 3 cards from your card pool and effectively restart your turn, incredible. But yeah, let's look at an attack.
Yo, Dragon of the
I
Darkness
mean, it's
Flame.
EA's sick attack, so that's good. Lose to speed 6 feels borderline unblockable based on the numbers I've seen so far. Because higher is good for speed, right?
Yeah,
Yes, I
that
will
means
say.
it's super hard to block.
Yeah, I will say, there are lots of cards that both modify speed and damage, both up and down.
Okay.
Yeah, we saw like Wolfwood does.
Yeah, six feels really good at least. Like that has to be at least pretty strong. 7 damage, I have no reference, but considering a lot of people in this game seem to have like 3 or 4 of that, that's Lava Axe to me, baby.
Stun tells your opponent to commit foundation equal to the stun rating, and powerful means you discard momentum to get extra damage equal to that rating. So this would be 3 extra damage for every momentum you spend, and it'd be tell your opponent to commit 1 foundation.
And if you have 10 or less health, you may discard 3 cards from your hand as though they were momentum. So when you're on the back half of the game, you can just kind of do this as an action. And you said you gained 3 each?
Yes. So if you discard 3 cards, that'd be
16.
plus 9 damage.
Yeah, 16 damage total. And you know what? I've been being too safe with this shit. I'm gonna say this thing is ass. 5 is way too expensive. It feels really explosive. It feels like you'd be able to pretty easily just dump and do 16 damage. 6 seems really hard to block. Having the modality of being a 1 mid block seems good. The 2 feels a little weak. I don't know how. I think attacks, it seems like, will probably be pretty low on that side.
So that's where my knowledge of playing this before comes in. The fact that this is a 2 on the attack is the secret thing that makes me never want to touch this.
So are we reaching across the aisle and just shaking hands and saying this thing's ass?
Yep.
Okay, Kobuddy, tell us how this thing is an ass.
So this card is complete and total trash.
Woo! All right.
Both for the reasons that Slido said. It being a 2-check is really bad. If you have a 2-check in your deck, you want it to be extremely powerful.
It has to be the best card you've ever seen.
Yeah, like being able to just like dead draw yourself is brutal in any game, right?
Yeah. And not only is 10 or less health such an extremely specific requirement, discarding cards from your hand is generally not a great idea.
Yeah, because that leaves you open afterwards too, right? So this has to be a finisher. If it's not a finisher,
you play this. You play also. You play this. It doesn't kill. You just discard it in your hand and your momentum to play like a mid block that isn't even. Do throws still exist in this game?
Throws still exist, yes.
Okay, this isn't even a throw. That's another bit. Like, this is your giant attack,
and
throws... This is blockable. Throws ain't.
Nice.
But yeah, now that we've got a pretty solid foundation as to, how everything works and general power level
all right, show me the questing beast.
Let's...
Show me the one with 2 words on it. I'm ready.
Oh, I'm gonna do the opposite of that.
Oh. Okay, now hold up though, because it's 0 cost and it plays 6. So, can this ever be dead? Yeah, I'm willing to gut check this as auto include. Like, unless the colors are ass, this has to be like, this seems crazy.
Yeah, in the WoW TCG, there's a bunch of quests like that where it's like, oh, these are your lands. But you could also just play face down cards from your hand as land. In the WoW TCG, you just played a bunch of cards face down as land because you didn't care about the text. They were there for you to tap for mana. Like, so this being blank, who cares?
So yeah, this card is included in every deck that uses those symbols.
Word, yeah.
It being a zero difficulty 6 check and having such a low block modifier is fucking incredible.
Are overhead blocks a little bit harder to come by than mid blocks as well?
Yes and no. That low of a high block? Yes.
Because that's like almost free.
Yeah, that's a +1. And there's lots of, well, I shouldn't say lots. There's some ways you can also modify your block modifiers to make them even lower. But yeah, +1, it's a 6 check, it's a 0 difficulty. Yeah, it's an insane card.
Karasu. This is a Dark Tournament dude from, Team Taguro there.
How? I guess that's too much information, so I won't. I was gonna ask, how often do people have like 6+ foundations during their turn? But it sounds like you play a lot of foundations, right? Because you play a couple of them.
A good baseline is 40-20. 40 foundations, 20 attack.
Okay. And you can play multiple a turn, so it's not like land level restrictions. And it sounds like people are pretty commonly playing like 2 or 3 of these a turn. And you play multiple attacks in a turn, which... Now, deal damage with an attack, does that basically just mean like the attack has resolved?
No. So if an attack is blocked, it deals, assuming it's fully blocked, it deals no damage. So this static would not go off.
Okay.
7 cards in hand, 20. I don't like that first ability is both sides. That's not great.
Oh, that I
don't
true.
like.
Yeah.
I don't like having to blow up my own lands to blow up my opponent's lands. And also, the other thing here is like that isn't conditional. Say your opponent is just sitting on like 6 foundations, and you're building up higher. You're the one who gets blown up alone.
I will say, especially on Karasu's symbols, there are several foundations that do stuff when they're destroyed.
Yeah, I think that's like...
Okay, so there is that. I think this is niche and kind of bad. Like, people try to make this guy work, but it never really comes together. That's my guess.
I'm gonna go below that. I'm gonna say that this ain't where you want to be. Like, I can't get over the fact that this is both-sided.
So this character is fun, but he's pretty dog-ass.
Okay.
Okay. Like, you ain't... Alright.
The blowing up your own foundations isn't really a problem. The problem is that he effectively has to take an off turn where he builds his stage back up so he can actually get value out of his foundation destruction ability.
You do your attack turn, then you're like, all right, time for the rebuild.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, that's
After your rival plays an ability on an action card, cancel it.
This is a counterspell, huh?
This is a counterspell. Yeah.
This is just a counterspell for actions, but as we saw previously, there was an action that was just Time Walk, and I would love to counterspell that, please. So
yeah, that's the thing is I'm like halfway between like some of these actions do seem turbo cracked, like you would want to counter them, but then also at the same time, a lot of times you're playing like a bunch of but most of the stuff you're playing is like foundations and attacks, and like only a couple actions here or there, so they could be a little backbreaking.
Like somebody in chat said, not a 4 of, maybe a 1 of, and that's what I'm feeling with this, where it's like you're gonna feel good when it comes up. That top ability is like, that block is like, it's +3, it's not great, but the tap down 2 foundations on the opponent means that you actually kind of try to end their turn on the block.
Early. Yeah.
I will say too, that first response, It says commit to rival foundations. You choose the foundations.
Okay. Yeah. I see
okay.
much. I'm gonna say this is extremely good, depending on if they have or have not banned that card we saw earlier yet.
Is this a sideboard card?
I think
Are there sideboards
do they have
right now?
sideboards in this
Sideboards,
game?
yes.
Oh, okay. Showdown's a sideboard card. I'm gonna say this is
Yeah.
a 2 of in the sideboard. Yeah, that's my guess.
I like that. That's good. I'm right. I'm there.
So this card is incredible. It's generally a 1 of in the symbols that can play it, and then 2 in the
so
sideboard.
like a 1 or 2. Yeah, good. Nice.
I will say, hey Ty, you remember the cheating scandal?
Oh, is it? Oh, Showdown! It was this
Just
card.
the card.
Yeah.
I mean, the main thing I'm seeing again is 5 cost is pretty high. 3 feels usable.
That's generally
the
the
normal.
standard.
That's
yeah,
standard.
Yeah.
Okay.
for attacks, yeah.
I'm gonna say in a ranged weapon deck, this card is pretty good because it lets you do multiple attacks while like kind of keeping the difficulty about the same, and it also lets you hold up more in your hand to block next turn. It feels tricky. I'll bet. I'll say this is pretty good. This lets you like keep going and remove things from the pool without, you know, burning your entire hand out, which seems okay.
I'm a little concerned about, you said the cost on here and the fact that this is asking you to play it after you've already played a couple other attacks, like because it wants you to spend cards from your card pool so there were momentum for it. Mm-hmm. And so I'm a little worried that the cost is actually the kill.
Late.
Well, yeah, because you have to play, because this wants you to play a 5 late. So like,
yeah,
I'm gonna go like, I'm gonna go below you on this one. I think this one is like.
I'm gonna move mine to D. I didn't think about that at all, but yeah, this is a 5 that needs to be played late.
So this attack is incredible.
Damn it, I was right. Damn it.
Interesting.
So something y'all missed is it doesn't say it can't spend itself.
What?
So you can.
In what world would you? But then it's gone. How
So you spend one
What?
attack,
Yes.
What?
echo
That
the
doesn't
other
make
one
sense.
out from under it, and then echo itself, and just like.
Well, no, because it flips face down. How could you spend itself?
No, so you play this card as your first attack. It resolves. You say, okay, I'm gonna echo it, and discard it from your card pool. You don't get to play it again, but you are now playing off progressive difficulty for your next attack.
Okay, there's no world where I would have expected that to be the outcome rules-wise for how that keyword works.
So this is just
so
a free.
you got me there.
It's just a free card at the beginning of your
Yeah,
turn,
free card.
functionally.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
that functionality sounds way better than the
It can
way that
exile
this card reads.
It is a
Interesting.
ranged weapon attack.
Right,
And it
but,
says you may spend ranged weapon attacks.
Judge?
I just
If you block this attack, commit 1 once per turn. Attack gets plus X or minus X speed. Number of committed rival foundations. How often? Oh, when you say block, does that mean even like partial blocks?
Yes.
I think Toya's like fine. Like this reads as like good. Like not like this. I don't think Toya's running tables, but I think like Toya here reads very defensive. So like you're playing a control game where if your opponent goes to attack, even if you half block, you get to tap down. Like you get to start like slowly tapping their lands down, and then if they overcommit, then all of a sudden on their turn, not only do you get a big speed boost on whatever your big attack is, they're also like half tap down or full tap down. So like there's a plan here, like and 720 like those stat line, but like that seems like fun because like on the last one it was like Karasu couldn't defend. Like Toya here, both of these are set up as defensive. So the low health doesn't seem as bad a problem.
I'm gonna say this is a top 16 control card. Like maybe one of the best control leaders that exist, but this doesn't feel like a particularly control-heavy game so far. Yeah, I'll put him at like a 7 out of 10 blue card.
So Toya here is probably the worst character of the set.
Not bad, huh? Okay, so this is our bottom low, huh?
Yeah.
So the reason why, basically, is yes, he can be very strong on defense. However, he has zero way to effectively pump his offense outside of one speed boost. He can't kill you effectively. Is
Okay.
basically his
He's
issue.
too defensively minded.
Yeah. Anyway, since Doc brought up the inexplicable Australian demon.
5, huh?
Yeah, this is a 5-hander.
Or even better, draw 10 and then discard down to whatever the best 5 are.
Well, so that 5 hand size is more fake than it looks here, because you don't actually have a 5 hand size. You can play like 4 or so cards. Your opponent had to like commit foundations to be playing the game, and then you are drawing back up to at least 5.
Yeah.
Like it says max 5, so you're drawing back up to like. If you non-throw deals damage, commit and flip. So that like is.
That's
Okay,
tap
that's a
it
way
and
more-
kill it. That's tap it and remove all text, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And it has to be a non-throw because those are guaranteed damage.
I'm gonna say this is edging on ban worthy. I'm gonna say that ability to like play all of your out and then reload and be able to block anyway. It sounds incredible.
Okay, before I reveal this dude's, how good or bad this dude is, there's an attack related to him that I want to show.
All right.
If this attack is not
You win
blocked and your rival has 8 or more committed foundations, you win the game.
So when I said something that's aspirational to build towards, I didn't realize I was being
Yes.
like directly on that. No, this is actually aspirational, something you would build towards. Where like, you specifically go like, nah, this is where the some of the power comes from. Where it's like, oh, that's fun. Also, the moment I see an instant win, put me back down to like 6. Like that never works in any game. Like.
Both the character and the attack are pretty ass.
Yep. Like
yeah, they don't print you win the game unless they know it's bull.
like Thassa's Oracle is like the one miss, right? Like,
And that was on accident, I feel like.
you.
One attack from your removed from the game. Take a card from exile. This ability cannot be canceled. Can't counter it, but it's a once per game. But that's just exile the hand, huh?
Yeah, I'm kind of reading this as like a ridiculously powerful offensive character who
I was
brings
gonna
out
say,
in,
I
like,
have to use the restroom. Continue your discussion. I'm gonna say 11 out of 10. It's crazy.
okay.
Tell us, then when he gets back, tell him the wrong answer is a joke. Alright, I like that. Yeah, this card, Endeavor's incredible. Endeavor, notably, was the character who won the most recent Worlds.
I'm back. So we agree this is the best card in the game, right? 11 out of 10?
No, he's ass.
Yeah, I was just saying.
What?
No, he's complete trash.
Wait, really?
No, chat put me up to it.
Oh, okay.
No,
Y'all f***ing with me? Y'all f***ing with me?
Yeah,
I was gonna be like, how did I misevaluate it that bad? Like, it looks crazy good.
Mr. Brave Stun. That means it's character specific. Like
that means you have to be playing Mr. Brave to stun one.
Enhance, it gets -2 speed and +2 damage. That would put it at 0 speed. You want high speed, right? I'm not like mistaken. I didn't forget. I didn't fall into the shadow realm.
Is this real?
So I will save everyone time Not only is this character ass, or this card ass, I include it for the meme because there is no Mr. Brave character card in the game.
Okay. All right.
So it's literally
That's,
unplayable. Yeah. 1 mana, draw 3 cards. Never heard of it. Yeah. So, yeah, Kobuddy, thank you so much for putting this together, and thank you, Sio, for joining as well. That was great.
Yeah.
I am glad to now have, like, a working knowledge of a game that I have never and probably will never play. Interesting, as
Hey,
always.
if you're up to learn, I'm down to teach anytime.
Yeah, I was gonna say, hey, we an important tabletop simulator. Why not?